Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher. Really appreciate you guys joining us today for a little on the water video here. We're going to be talking about how to fish a laydown tree in the water like you see right here. Some of the top bass structures for shallow water fishing. Going to give you guys some tips and advice how to fish it. And it's sort of rainy out right now, so hopefully raindrops won't get on the cell phone here. But we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, before we get started here, just a quick reminder about Tackle Warehouse's fall sale they have right now. They got a bunch of really cool stuff. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys want to get some good fall baits. I'd suggest your jig, shallow running crankbaits, buzz baits, really good this time of year. So I really appreciate everybody that's been using that. So anyway, guys, I'm going to turn the camera around here and we'll sort of go through this laydown and sort of give you guys some tips on how to fish it here. So here we go. Hey guys, here's a really nice example of a laydown tree. This is like the perfect type of tree I like to fish. You see here, you got two trees in the water. You got a lot of different type of diversity in the size of the limbs. You got some big trunks running into the water here. You got some smaller branches. You got some little small limbs on the end here. This is a perfect scenario, guys. Right here, this is a fairly flat bank, sloping off the end of the trees in about 6 or 7 foot of water. This is a perfect scenario because it gives the fish a lot of options based upon the water clarity. Right here, we've got about 12 inches of visibility, perfect for shallow water fishing here. So in a situation like this, where you've got the trunks entering the water in about 2 foot of water, and then the smaller branches in about 6 or 7, these fish could be in a lot of different places here. The thing that you really want to focus on when you first see a tree like this is look for the most complex piece of cover within the area here. Now, I like the transition area. See this area like here, you've got some medium-sized limbs here with smaller, and on up into the trunk here. So anywhere that you got a complex piece of wood in there is going to be a really key area. So my first cast in here, a lot of people start to the edge and they say, well, I'm going to pick off the fish out on the edge of the timber. Guys, I don't like to do that. I like to go for the sweet spot right off the bat. So my first cast when I come to a laydown tree is going to be like right here. This is the most complex piece of cover within this laydown tree. This is where your bigger fish are going to be. If there's a big fish in here, it's going to be right in through here. I'm not saying there couldn't be one out here, but this is your high percentage area, and I don't want to take a chance of like getting out here on the end and getting hung up and messing the whole tree up. So I'm going to put my bait right where I think the biggest fish is going to be right off the bat. So my first pitch in there is going to be like with a jig or a creature bait. That's going to be my key thing. Now, once I do make that key piece of cover, once I do make my presentations, then I will back off and I may go out on the end here and I may toss a crankbait along the edge or may throw a spinnerbait in some of these openings or maybe even pitch a jig or spinnerbait into some of this type of water here. But the main thing is these fish, they could be anywhere in here, but there are some high percentage areas. So a laydown tree like this, guys, you can't come in this particular spot and just make 2 or 3 casts and move on. This is a type of tree, since this is probably goes out 30, 40 feet here, I'm going to make probably 30 to 40 casts in this tree here. I'll be pitching, I'll be throwing a horizontal bait, maybe a buzz bait, depending upon the water temperature. But when you come to a tree like this, you ought to approach it from a lot of different angles. Like for example, I'd come in here like this, and then I'll move around here, show you a little bit different angle on it. Come around the tree from a lot of different angles and make a lot of different presentations, because you don't really know how these fish are positioned as far as how they're setting up, because you can only see the limbs from the surface. You can't see what's underneath. That's why you have to make a large number of presentations. So like if I'd come around here, see some of those openings in the limbs there, that's where I'd like toss a crankbait or a spinnerbait up in there, maybe pitch a jig in the thicker part of the stuff. But just really spend a lot of time breaking it down. Don't slop through the area, make lots of casts. And if there's one in there, a tree like this has probably got multiple fish in it. And like I said, you got to come through those areas with the right bait at the right angle to get them to bite. Okay, guys, that's just a few tips for fishing laydown trees. There's a lot of variables too. A lot of it has to do with the slope of the bank the tree's on. Sometimes those trees are in 20, 30 foot on the outside edge of it. Has to do with the water clarity as far as your techniques. Has to do with the water temperature as far as your techniques. But anyway, when you get a laydown tree like this, I mean, this is prime bass cover. And biggest advice I can give you guys for it: slow down, make multiple presentations from different angles, and that gives you a lot better chance of catching one. So hope it helps out. We'll talk later.